Hello folks, and welcome to our Savage Turkey Thanksgiving Battle Report, aka the Massacre at Wattle Turkey Farm, aka Revenge of the Turkey Men, and aka Pecked to Death, the Snood Village Bloodbath. For this rather brutal and lopsided fiasco of a game, we used the Warhammer Skirmish rules for Warhammer Fantasy 6th Edition, modifying them just a bit to suit our homebrew scenario. Basically, we wanted to make a Thanksgiving episode featuring Smeagol and Gobbins from Reaper Miniatures there at the center left, and to their right, the infamous Turkey Man from Bad Squiddo Games. To accommodate these colorful characters, we had to be somewhat creative with the storyline. Essentially, Smeagol and the Turkey Man are on a mission of revenge, stampeding savage, alchemically modified feral turkeys from the forest and into the peaceful village of Snood, home of the Wattle family turkey farm. The only line of defense is a band of 8 Free Company mercenaries who have to thin out the gaggle before it rampages past them and into the village, consuming everything and everyone in its path. I'll introduce the defenders by name. Starting on the left, we have Sergeant Cargill, then Tyson, Cooper, and Purdue. Then from the left again, we have Geno, Farbest, Sanders, and Swanson. Stat-wise, these are all Free Company militiamen who normally fight with 2-hand weapons, but as you can see, I swapped in bows, crossbows, pistols, a greatsword, and even a halberd, so the weapons would match the miniatures I wanted to use. And this ultimately proved to be my undoing, because if most of your militiamen just get 1 attack instead of 2, and the dice decide to turn on you, then you don't have as many rolls to average out your successes and failures. Now, when I first wrote this scenario, I gave Team Turkey a 3-2 advantage, points-wise, which equated to about 12 turkeys in addition to Smeagol and the Turkey Man. But in our practice game, that proved to be too many birds, so we cut the gaggle back to just 8 turkeys and decided that the mercenaries would have to kill 5 of them to be victorious. Now, that should have been a cakewalk for the militiamen, especially with all those bows, crossbows, and pistols. However, as they say, no plan survives contact with the enemy, and the actual battle turned out to be considerably more brutal and one-sided than we anticipated. To say this game was a massacre is an understatement. However, if you find humor in such things, let me walk you through the action, but first, here is our dramatic introduction.
Welcome to the tranquil village of Snood, home of the prosperous Wattle Turkey Farm, provider of succulent poultry products to the imperial court and other well-heeled customers. Over the decades, the Wattle clan has grown fat from the luxury turkey trade, though in recent years there have been unsettling rumors of the farm resorting to dark alchemy and unspeakable rituals in order to create larger, fatter, tastier birds to feed the nobility's insatiable hunger. Perhaps more troubling, gaggles of giant feral turkeys, escapees from the farm, no doubt, have been spotted in the dense forest surrounding Snood village, and Imperial Rangers report that forest goblins may be aiding the unnatural beasts, no doubt with some nefarious purpose in mind. There are also whispers of a monstrous turkey beast-man, perhaps the result of a forbidden poultry-related experiment, who lurks within the woods and hungers for revenge against the entire Wattle clan. Out of an abundance of caution, the Wattle family has hired Free Company mercenaries to guard the fence line bordering the forest, just in case any feral turkeys attempt to cause trouble during the great celebration, known as Feasting Day.
So here we are at the start of turn 1. It is the morning of the Great Feast, and all is peaceful at the farm. The mercenaries are just kind of hanging out. They formed a defensive line amongst the buildings and barricades, and they haven't seen any sign of turkeys, so they're just more concerned whether or not someone's going to bring them a plate once Feasting Day is underway, because the air is currently filled with the smell of roast turkey and yams, and it's making them kind of hungry. But if any uninvited birds do show up, these soldiers are certainly armed and ready to have themselves a good old-fashioned turkey shoot. This threat does nothing to deter the giant turkeys hiding in the forest, however, who have their own agenda for Feasting Day. Plus they have initiative, so Team Turkey will go first. With a mighty gobble, giant turkeys burst from the tree line and storm through holes in the perimeter fence, no doubt cut by sneaky forest goblin saboteurs in the dead of night. Within moments, the once tranquil farmyard is teeming with carnivorous feral turkeys. Stat-wise, these forest predators are similar to wolves, except they're bird-brained and a bit slower. The feral turkeys are quickly followed by the legendary Turkey Man himself, who has the stat line of a minotaur and also causes fear. Smeagol and goblins also run into the fray. They are the equivalent of a goblin wolf rider boss, except that Smeagol is rocking a one-shot Mordheim-style blunderbuss. As the stampede continues, most turkeys run through holes in the fence, while a sole straggler takes the more direct approach. Because this turkey is bird-brained, he has to stop here at the barrier, but he can hop it next turn. At the end of their first turn, the turkeys have successfully flooded the zone on the right side of the battlefield. Apparently, the hired swords will have to earn their holiday pay after all. In the face of the stampede, Tyson the halberdier leaps into action, charging the nearest turkey, which he will attempt to chop into little cutlets during the combat phase. Cooper also charges in to help blunt the turkey advance. He won a great sword in a poker game last week. He's not very good with it, but he figures practicing on turkeys is better than practicing on, say, an armed opponent. Perdue and Sergeant Cargill are both armed with pistols, so they're going to swing right and take a bead on some turkeys. But since they moved, they'll be firing at a penalty during the shooting phase. Farbest, the archer, also needs to move to line up a shot, so he's going to sneak up on these turkeys over here. He'll also be shooting at a penalty because he moved. But hopefully he'll be able to give one of these uninvited turkeys a little feasting day surprise. Sanders the crossbowman is going to stand pat. He can't move and shoot, but he has plenty of targets anyway, even though those turkeys are going to get some cover. Swanson the crossbowman and Gino the archer are also going to stand still. They're going to shoot at the turkey man. He's going to get some cover from that wagon, but because he's a large target, it's kind of a wash. Now we go into the shooting phase, and the mercenaries are quite confident they'll bag a turkey or two because they are unleashing hell with 2 pistols, 2 crossbows, and 2 regular bows. So statistically, they're going to kill something. We start with Farbest the bowman shooting at a turkey, and he misses. Perdue the pistolero decides to shoot at a turkey he spies hiding behind a shed, and he misses as well. He was looking for a 5 because he moved. Sergeant Cargill is shooting this bird here. He'd like to roll a 5, which he doesn't get. Swanson the crossbowman and Gino the archer are both shooting at the turkey man. They both need a 4 to hit, which neither of them get. And finally, Sanders the crossbowman, he'd like to be a colonel someday. He shoots at a turkey behind the barricade. He needs a 5 to hit, gets a 6, then rolls a critical hit on the wound roll, scoring 2 wounds, and ultimately stunning the bird. Not the kill shot we were hoping for, but at least it's something. In the close combat phase, Cooper is going to attempt to carve some turkey with a greatsword. Normally the greatsword strikes last, but Cooper just charged, so he gets to strike first. Cooper attempts a powerful overhead chop, which misses. Now the savage turkey gets to strike back. The turkey lands a mighty peck, scoring a critical hit, which inflicts 2 wounds and bypasses Cooper's armor, and ultimately kills him. So that makes Cooper the first fatality of the game. Next, Tyson attempts to cleave a renegade turkey with his halberd. Tyson hits, but fails to wound the bird even with the halberd strength bonus. The turkey strikes back, but thankfully fails to hit. That's the final interaction of turn 1. Now let's see what Team Turkey does at the top of turn 2. During the recovery phase, the stunned turkey rolls himself face up. Then at the start of the movement phase, bloodthirsty birds barrel into the Free Guild fighters, which comes as a great shock to some of the Free Company missile troops, who really didn't expect to be in hand-to-hand combat today. They thought their job was just to shoot a few turkeys. One feral turkey makes an especially long charge at Sanders, giving the crossbowman just enough time to pivot and shoot from the hip. He misses, though. Next, the turkey man himself charges Sanders, forcing the beleaguered crossbowman to take a fear check. Sanders fails his courage roll, and as he flees in panic, the feral turkey next to him gets a free peck, which hits automatically, causes a wound, gets past his armor, and ultimately kills him. Sanders becomes the day's second casualty. The score is now Turkeys 2, Mercenaries 0. Next, Smeagol and Gobbins move around the well to line up a shot. Smeagol fires the blunderbuss, hitting Sergeant Cargill and Perdue with a blast of rusty nails that inflicts one automatic strength 3 hit on each of them. Sergeant Cargill avoids a wound, but Perdue takes a critical hit, which leaves him stunned and lying on the ground. Nearby, 2 feral turkeys battle Farbist the archer. However, neither side inflicts a wound. Toward the center of the farm, 2 other turkeys attack Gino the bowman, but that fight is also inconclusive. Unfortunately, Tyson the halberdier is not so lucky. He receives a critical hit, which proves to be fatal, and removes him from the game. At the bottom of turn 2, only 5 Free Guild mercenaries remain, and one of them is stunned. Plus, the soldiers have inflicted no turkey casualties. Let's see if they can manage to kill a bird or 2 for the honor of the regiment. During the recovery phase, Perdue the pistolero rolls himself face up, but that's going to be the extent of his contribution this turn. During the movement phase, Swanson the crossbowman charges in to assist Geno the archer, who is fighting hand-to-hand with 2 feral turkeys. During the shooting phase, Sergeant Cargill takes a shot at Smeagol the turkey rider, and misses. In the close combat phase, Farbist the archer is fighting for his life against 2 savage birds. The scuffle is still a stalemate, however, despite the turkeys winning initiative. Nearby, Swanson and Geno also fight for their lives, but that scuffle is proving to be a deadlock as well, with neither side inflicting any wounds. Going into turn 3, Team Turkey is firmly in control of the battlefield. Turkey Man is rampaging across the farm with impunity, and savage feral turkeys are stampeding unopposed into the undefended village of Snood. The turkeys also succeed in murdering Farbist the archer and Swanson the crossbowman. At this point, the surviving Free Guild mercenaries prudently decide to concede the game because the best outcome they can hope for is a gruesome death at the hands of the Turkey Man. So it is a total and utter turkey victory, and the feral turkeys are now free to terrorize the helpless village of Snood. Okay, folks, that's a wrap on our rather lopsided Thanksgiving battle report. It wasn't as balanced as we would have liked, but that's just the way it goes sometimes, and we hope you enjoyed it anyway. Wherever you are, we hope you're doing well. Thanks very much for joining us. We'll see you next time.